No, you see how in the...
You're talking right now. Oh. You're on live right now.
Oh.
Talk.
I wasn't ready for that.
I did it. You said you were ready. You're still live.
Okay, I'm going to talk from here. Okay, I'm not ready for the screen. Where's your chat? Hi. Adam's coming. I took over. What? I don't want to be on the screen. I wasn't ready. Everybody's ready for you. I can't hear with these headphones on.
There's nothing in the headphones.
We're going to do a drop soon of merch. He's making his coffee. We were busy getting all the packages out today.
All right. Let me get in my seat. That was unbelievable. You were like, "Oh, I'll take over," and then you panicked.
I wasn't ready. I thought there was gonna be like a.
You're using it as a mirror.
I thought there was gonna be like like a preview photo first. Wasn't ready to see myself that close this early in the morning.
All right, we love you. No worries. All right, hello everyone. Welcome in. Monday, October 20th. Game 7 tonight. ALCS. Toronto forces Game 7. So really big. Somebody said you look much better than Adam.
No, I
really and Adam looks totally different today.
Rough.
Yeah, it's all good. We're just working hard. You know, who knew that packing slips and shipping labels would be so difficult? We bought a whole label printer. Doesn't work. That was the weekend. So anyway, we're back here.
No, every package is made by me with love.
Yeah, with love, for sure. Anyway, all right, let's get started. Last night was Game 6 of these guys, the Blue Jays and the Mariners. It was a rematch of Game 2, pitching matchup, Gilbert, Yasavage. Just got my coffee ready to go. Thank you, Brett, for the lighter.
You're welcome.
These right here, these puppies, if you're lucky enough, they come sometimes in the packages. Anyway. All right. So last night, here's the box score. Savage goes 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs. They all came at the very end. 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Did get clipped by Josh Naylor. Varland came in, inning and a third, and then they went Jeff Hoffman for 2 innings. They decided that's where they were at. Pitching-wise, they'll have an all-hands-on-deck Game 7 tonight anyway, so they do throw Hoffman 2 innings. On the other side, Gilbert, 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, got clipped twice. Bizzardo, 2 innings. That's also a big deal because they need him. I don't feel like they've been trusting him in this series the way that they should. They haven't been prioritizing, in my opinion, Bizzardo quite right. Brash, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 run, got 2 walks, and then Vargas pitched. Still no Munoz. So Munoz is due to pitch quite a bit yesterday. And then this is a good question in the chat here. Was the 3 double plays Trey induced yesterday luck or his pitch selection to get him ground balls? What is his ground ball rate like in the minor leagues or at ECU? Because I'm expecting it to be pretty freaking high considering the type of pitcher he is. But still, you got to get the balls hit at people. So it's a little bit of both. But that gives me an idea, though, at least. Let's go take a look at his what his ground ball rate is at right now, and then we'll go watch. So in the early going, it was only 3 starts. He did run a 56% ground ball rate in the big leagues. That's exceptional. So that's part of it. He only had 2 ground to double plays in 98 innings in the minors this year, though. That's not a great sign. Do we have minor stats for this? Sometimes the minor stats on reference aren't very granular. They don't give you a ton of ground ball information, but we'll see. Well, here it is. Oh, that's in the big league. In the big league, still same, 56.4. We need minor leagues. Show minor league stats. Yeah, they don't have percentages going back to minor leagues, but you are right. He only had 2 double play ground balls in the whole minor leagues this year. Well, I'm only seeing 1, actually. I do think he's a hard guy to lift, though, if he's constantly pitching at the bottom of the strike zone. I do think ground balls are a part of his, definitely a part of his game plan. And this makes sense, too. Could be so few because nobody got on base against him in the minors. I mean, his minor league stats are actually laughable this year. In terms of punch-outs, 160 strikeouts and 98 innings is... It's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you can do that, that's pretty good. All right. So let's go to it. You know what? Why not? We'll dig out of it. We'll find it out. He did get double plays to end 3 consecutive innings. Here's the first one, right? Cal Raleigh, first pitch split. I feel like this was a pretty good pitch to hit. And Raleigh kind of screwed this one up a little bit. Pretty good pitch to hit, but if you're going to ambush, you probably don't want that split. He does see it pop up high, but the swing kind of jams him. So I'm going to say this one was more fluky than anything, this individual one. Then in the 4th inning, there's this one with Crawford. Let's watch the whole at-bat. Splitter strike, bottom of the zone. Splitter again. Strike again, outside. So this is a tough pitch because he thought he had a good take here. But it's just touching the edge there for the 0-2. And then this one's another split right below the zone. That pitch right there, that's... You throw that pitch for 2 reasons. You throw it for the strikeout or for the ground ball. Anytime you get a hitter reaching for a pitch this low and away, very unlikely to hit it anywhere but on the ground. So I feel pretty strongly that this is a feature of his arsenal here, that he's going to get a lot of ground balls when he features splits in big spots, but also, like, not a great at-bat by Crawford here. He doesn't want to make the same mistake that Raleigh makes, but this is a pretty good pitch to hit, too. Of the 3, that first pitch splitter, middle in. And you got to be sitting split in this spot if I'm the Mariners. He doesn't get under this ball. He should hammer this pitch. I know it's a good pitch, but he should hammer it. And then after that, he gets nothing to hit. Like, this next pitch is kind of dotted. And then, you know, you're kind of right. He does sort of low-key hit this ground ball hard, but not that hard. 89. But also just shows you, you know, the defensive placement. If it's hit in the hole, you know, it's 2 runs, obviously. Instead, it's hit on a perfect one-hop right to the shortstop. So, you know, there is a little bit of directional batted ball luck always. And then here's the 5th inning. Julio. Just a man on first. Fastball in. So, I talked a little bit about my pitching strategy, right on right. That was my specialty in my career. I almost never pitched in to righties except when I wanted a double play. So, a lot of times, if you do execute, mine was with a sinker, but he has like downhill plane to his 4-seam, even though that's extreme rise. Wow, 21 inches of rise. But the idea is if you can get them to pull it in and jam them, they're probably going to hit a chopper to third or a chopper to short. So I would always shoot a lot of times for this area right here, like this down and in area with sink, and that would get a chopper. But this pitch jams him and it has the same effect. So I'm just going to say, look, like, he's not a fly ball pitcher. His high fastballs will get him some fly balls, but both the slider and the split, as well as when he throws the fastball down, is going to produce a ton of ground balls. Also, pitching in here gets a ground ball. So 2 of the 3, I'll say I give him credit for the pitching. I also give him credit for landing a first pitch split to Raleigh. But let's be honest, this pitch to Raleigh was very hittable, and he kind of jams himself. Doesn't get his arms extended. And if you look at where Cal is set up, he's set up all over the plate. You see how close he is to the plate right here? This is very, very close. He's almost to the inside of the batter's box, and I think he does that to give himself, coverage over here on the outer third. But what ends up happening is this ball drifts to the inner third, and then if you watch him, he kind of gator arms and pulls off of it and gets into that rollover spot. So I think this was the real good pitch to hit of the 3 at-bats, as well as the take by Crawford on the 0-0. Because after that, he's really good at locating when he's ahead in the count. It's really tough to lift him. So those are the 3 double plays. We looked at those real quick. Let's go watch him pitch a little bit more, though. Let's watch some of his early stuff, because he was electric early. First pitch out of the game. I like J-Rod trying to go for the first pitch ambush damage here. But again, that ball kind of slides in on him. Like if this ball's middle, he might be perfectly on time, but then it kind of bores in on him just a bit. And what did he hit it? 94.6. All right, let's watch the Cal Raleigh at bat. Force heater in the dirt. Ooh, there's that weird slider to a lefty. So this pitch probably started like it was going to be up in at most, and then it ends up running up away. Just a weird pitch. 4.1 inches going this direction on the slider. Very odd pitch. Gets us to 1-1, and then here comes a split off that. Ooh, the high split. I don't have hit data on it, but another good pitch to hit. But you see how Cal's plane of his swing and the way the ball's coming down are not quite matching up. He's trying to cut through it, but he's getting it at a very awkward angle, and he's rolling it. So even on the foul ball, that kind of shows that his swing is a little predisposed to rolling over these splits from your Savage. Here's the 1-2 fastball. I love that attempt, because in this at-bat, he threw mostly up in the zone. The slider was up in the zone. The split was up in the zone. So, yeah, I like trying to get him to fish up in the zone with a fastball here. It's a pretty good take, actually. Watch it one more time. And then here comes the slider. He actually punches him out with this. I think this is a good read by Kirk. You know, everything's been up, so now you don't have a low tunnel anymore. Normally, if you have a low tunnel, the pitch is the split. You know, you get the split, you get it down here, you get the punchies. But right now, he's got the high tunnel set, because everything in this at-bat has been high, 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 high. Splitter high. That ended up over here. The fastball he just took was over here. Even the first pitch split that got rolled over was pretty high. So, therefore, start the slider high, and then break it down and get the swing over, and that's what he gets. Pitch comes out nice and high, and then he's way gone, swung over that. And honestly, I think he thinks it's a fastball. So it does give me a little bit of indication that his slider, his fastball at times look similar. So really good calling by Kirk, good execution by Savage. And that's how Raleigh went down the first time. Nice pitch there. The rare strikeout of a lefty with a slider, just like it's rare if he strikes out a righty with a splitter. And then he gets a fly out of Polanco here to end the first on a split. Pretty good pitch to hit. He's made some mistakes with the split up in this game, but I've often said when watching him in his first handful of big league innings is that it's important for him to locate a split up in the zone early in the count anyway. Not a great pitch to hit. You see this guy's way out in front. Jorge is so far out in front on this and off the end anyway that it's still effective despite the location. You just can't double up in that spot. That's the mistake he made in game 2 to Julio. He doubled up in the zone with a split. You have time for 1. You can't do 2. All right, second inning, he's going to get a 3-pitch strikeout of Naylor. First pitch split, complete wave at it, thinking it's a fastball, I think. Now he goes fastball down, and he's under it. I mean, again, he's got exceptional fastball ride, too. 21 inches. So even though the ball's coming down, and it feels like it's going to be like a hop skip into the catcher, you go to meet that with a scoopy bat path, and the ball just stays above you a little bit, and you're under it. So that's what happens here. Even though this pitch is down, Josh is under it. 0-2 count, and now probably a split, I would imagine. Yeah, he gets the perfect wave. So that's a great execution on the 0-2 split. Look at this. And Naylor's trying to do that thing that he's been doing for a while where he just wax pitches foul, but he doesn't make contact with this one, and that's a pretty quick strikeout for you Savage there. Now Randy, it's a 5-pitch punch out.
2 for 17 in this series, but has scored.
Little backup slider for a strike. It's such a weird slider, man. He almost throws it from behind his head. Another slider here. Oof. The old slow motion swing. It's so weird to throw a backdoor slider right on right. It doesn't make sense. That's kind of what he does here. I love that his pitches are just strange. Strange, strange. Strange for the win every time. Another slider here. Oof, almost gets clipped. This ball backs up into the barrel. What a weird pitch. If he could just get something to consistently go left, then he'd be game over. And then the high split. Randy doesn't even know what that was. So he's made a number of mistakes high early, but are they mistakes? Because they're also really tough to hit, especially at the top of the zone. Really weird pitch. Strikeout there, and then he punches the side when he gets Suarez. You're making big tape noises over here? They can probably hear that. Is that annoying, the tape noise in the background? Probably. They haven't said yet. Nobody in the chat spoke yet. I did. Slider. It's okay. You're fine. There's another backup slider at the top. This is such a tough pitch to pull the trigger on. You see slider spin and the ball's up and away from you. Every single thing, they said, let her work. It's fine. Not a big deal. It's fine. No complaints. Everybody loves you so much.
Oh my God, because they were probably like, we feel bad.
You're the
Look
queen.
what she looks like in the morning.
Oh, relax. Anyway, this pitch starts up and away, and then it kind of backs up into the zone. Just an impossible pitch to swing at. It's a pitch you would like to swing at, but it's a tough pitch to swing at. See, this one is kind of similar, but this one stays off the edge somehow. Maybe starts it a little bit further left. But he's really changing, you know, some tough levels for these hitters to make swing decisions on. Everything that their internal computer is telling them is not what's showing up. And then this is a split, which is like, it's the slower version, but it sort of moves to the right, like the slider either. As long as we get our merch, we will allow it, they said.
Okay, you got it. New merch is
And then the
coming.
fastball down freeze, which we all know is when he's pitching you up, 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 or if you have takes down, 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 you know, the fast one down is amazing. Ooh, Carlos says last one was kind of loud, but it's okay, Adam. I love your analysis. Fastball down freeze. So Savage looked great early. Let's bounce around a little bit more here.
Show them how cute these bags are.
Yeah, look at these bags, guys.
Look what I made.
You guys like these little travel bags?
They're so pretty.
Okay, here we go. Oh, Alex, I meant to tell you, so I went and actually sent your order out quick because you ordered, like, super fast ordering to Canada. But did you know that there's a postal strike going on in Canada right now? Not great. So I sent it out, and I guess once the strike gets settled, it'll get right to you. But it's all sent out and everything. So.
Oh, is that other friend on there?
Which other friend?
Our guy that's going through
Oh,
something
no, not yet.
Tuesday.
No Figueroa yet. I'll let you know if he shows up. All right,
We
so
all need to support him.
let's walk around a little bit. There's another split perfectly located at the bottom. Canzone gives him a look here, like, are you kidding me, buddy? Look at the look. He's giving him some eyes right here. Is there an eye contact here? Do these guys know each other? And I'll go back to the dugout now. See you later. Rotating strikes, so he should be okay. Okay, good. We're going to need that. Well, these bags are for the merch. Like, you buy a shirt or a hat, you get a bag.
Yep.
They're not Halloween bags, though. Maybe we should have done special Halloween
Oh,
bags. There's so many good ideas.
No one
Percolating.
wants that. No one wants a baseball and coffee Halloween bag. What about a travel
They
mug?
finally know who's the brains of this channel, they're saying.
I mean,
Always.
Show them the
always.
spooky setting.
Oh, have you seen my spooky backdrop? Hold on. We're going to keep going here. We got the spooky backdrop right now. These are my carnivorous plants. We got a Venus flytrap. This is like a Hyrox of some sort. We got our spooky lights. We got the spider web up here now. Anyway.
Show the Foco.
What Foco?
That.
This?
Yeah, show them.
Oh,
that.
this was our this was the Red Sox Christmas ornament
With Cat.
designed
Foco.
with Kat from Foco and my wife for Boston Children's
she
when we
did
were
it.
with the Red Sox.
She didn't.
When they used to do the laundry little celebration. I always thought that was cool. All right, so now you've seen the backdrop. Okay, so there was a strikeout, single walk. That's when he got in trouble with the walk. Let me see some of these walks. Because we talked about what does it look like when Trey struggles. It's free passes. It's not landing his off speed for strikes early, which seemed to be no problem in this game. But the free passes, he got himself into nearly some big trouble and got bailed out with these double plays. That was a walk to Crawford. There was also a walk to Julio in this inning that set up the bases loaded situation. Interesting going with the 3-1 slider here. Up 2. Not giving in here. And getting to that full count, to that bases loaded situation where he gets the double play. Then in the 4th inning, he got in a little bit of trouble. Naylor ambushed every at-bat. It paid off with a home run later. But he swung at the first pitch, I think, every at-bat off Trey. There's a first pitch fastball for a hit. That got them started in the 4th. There was a Randy hit here on a slider. Randy saw a lot of sliders in this game, so eventually you knew he was gonna kind of pick one out. Oh. Yeah, pick one out. Lucky infield hit. Excuse me. And then a Suarez walk on 3-2 split. That set up that other double play that he needed. Oof, pretty close there. A little high. And then we saw there was not really much of a rally in the 5th inning. Canzone did get a hit. Just a little grounder up the middle. So that's the batted ball luck with grounders. Obviously, sometimes they go up the middle, sometimes they don't. Ooh, Jane said the taping is annoying. Jane Goodrich.
I will not.
So then she's going to shut it down. No more taping. All right.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you for the honesty. That's all we need. And then the 6th inning, he got in a little bit of trouble and ends up having to make his exit. He did go strike out to Cal Raleigh, which we should watch this whole at bat because he owned Cal Raleigh big time in this game. Split down ball. Oh, split down chase. Strike. We're going to watch Hoffman in a second, Kevin.
13 years in the major leagues. He's so excited to try to make the most of it.
Fastball up, ball. Ooh, slider. Got Raleigh with one earlier. So it seems like they want to pair a high tunnel to lefties. If he sets up a high tunnel with a fastball, then they want to go slider off that. This one's too low, but he still gets a swing. And if they have one down, then they want to go splitter and seal the deal with the split. And here's a perfect one. I mean, completely gets him out front, and he's completely fooled. It's also, I love that there's a speed differential between slider and split. Thank goodness. If they were the same speed, I think that would be dangerous for you, Savage, but it's nice that they're about 4 or 5 miles an hour different at least. Because that keeps Cal out front here, even though he just hit a slider. So, yeah, Savage looks great. He's tremendous, man. I mean, big cojones on this guy. He gets him all the way into the 6th. Then Varlin comes in and kind of shuts shit down. This was a big strikeout of J.P. Crawford here. Actually, with a changeup of all things. We have just a live stream of the tape they want to know. People are ridiculous.
Likes? What's that? The sound?
Like it's an ASMR. Big strikeout there by Varland. That kept it at 5-2, and then he went fly out, strikeout, fly out. And then Hoffman, we do want to review some of how he looked. He hadn't pitched in a while. They end up trusting him to go. They end up trusting him to go 2 innings last night, which is interesting because they do have a big game 7 today. But obviously they need to put the nail down and the hammer down yesterday and save those arms that did not pitch yesterday for today. And now it's an all hands on deck situation. But I think Hoffman will be available. He was relatively efficient. Let's watch this whole at bat versus Cal. His first at bat. Fastball pulled in. Looks like he got his happy haircut for Jeff. Yeah, the back of that hair is looking good. This is the breakdown you don't get. It looks like he might have saw the barber in the clubhouse before the game today. So fresh haircut sometimes means fresh performance. They also wanted him to face the meat of the order here, but at the same time, I think this was good managing. Like, it's easy to look at it now and say, "Oh, they cruised to victory. Why are you wasting your closer, you know, in this game?" But I think they had to nail it down yesterday. Plus, they're still not sure what they're getting from him. Wow, really good fastball to the top of the zone here. Perfect location. That came right off of this slider. Bieber's starting for Toronto tonight, Spectre. Bieber tonight. With Bassett available, Scherzer available. Probably some more Hoffman. I doubt Little sees the game. Varland will probably be available. So there's a strikeout with a fastball. Let's see the split. Sword. Nice pitch there, and then a fly out from Naylor. Fastball was playing. Fastball had life for sure. Doesn't look like it's the 97, but it's also one thing I like too is he hasn't been super overexposed in this series. He hasn't pitched in every game. That's a great place to be as we head into Game 7. This is an interesting up and away slider that you kind of have to swing at. Not a great pitch to swing at. Suarez. I think Varland might be slightly overexposed. I would agree with that. I would agree with this take a little bit. I think Varland is on the side of overexposed. Hoffman, no, though. They really haven't seen him much in the series. They did get to look at him last night, but it's nice. He hasn't pitched a whole lot. And we'll get into all of the pitching situation going into this Game 7. There's a lot of good notes. This is the last out of the game, this pop-up. There's a lot of good notes about that once we get into our preview mode here. But I wanted to review a little bit of what the Blue Jay pitching did yesterday. Did a nice job versus this Mariner team, who obviously, they score all their runs with homers pretty much. It was still the same yesterday. Naylor with the home run, and they chipped one other away. This was the Naylor home run on his Savage. I mentioned how Naylor tried to ambush every time. He ends up getting him on the high split. I also think his home run trot here is hilarious. Watch that one more time. Just the most home run you've ever seen in your life. On the other side of things, Gilbert struggled a little bit versus this club. He's such a good pitcher. But he definitely struggled a little bit versus this club. They end up having a nice rally on him here in the third with 2 outs. Ernie Clement gets it started. He's been unbelievably aggressive in this game, in this series, and in the playoffs, he's been great. He nearly homers here. This is what really extended the lead. It happened really fast, all with 2 outs. Ball off the wall, and then Barger 2-pitch home run. Kind of takes a great pitch to hit there, and then gets another one. So kind of measures it, and then kabooms the second one. So don't love the double up there. I thought this was a huge swing in the game. This kind of defined the game. It would have been a nail-biter without this. I know they had the 2 runs at the beginning, but you have 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the order up here, and the Blue Jay bottom of the order continues to be massive. Guys like Barger, Jimenez, Clement have really been coming through for them. No different there. The first 2 runs, also kind of the bottom of the order coming through big. Varsho got it started with a single. Nice swing there. We've noted they've been good at up in the zone. They've been good at hitting velocity up in the zone. Varsho's shown that off a few times in this series. This is another example. It's a pretty good 0-0 heater up and away. This is a nice location, but the swing is so short. Wham. He gets on. And then you can't give them an inch either. Here's Ernie again. Suarez drops it, but he's running hard the whole way. Beats it out. That's key. I mean, you hit this ball this hard to third. Even with this drop, you should not make it. But Ernie hustles so hard that he's safe on that. That's a big deal. Really big deal. Which then leads us to Barger again. Let's watch this whole at-bat because this broke the ice open. And Barger's been huge in this series. Backdoor slider strike. Splitter off that. I would have liked to see Gilbert go back to the splitter versus Barger later in the game. I don't understand the double sliders. Split their ball. Slider foul.
But then a difference in height too on where they release it.
Very very consistently not throwing him fastballs, I'll say that. Easy for him to sit on something slow, and then he got a splitter up. Maybe that's what they were worried about, is that he got clipped on a split early, but if you locate a splitter down, Barger hadn't shown you he was on it. It was just this one above the zone, and when you're in two-strike mode, you're in swing mode, so I wouldn't have freaked out about this too much. But those are the two huge hits from Barger. He gets all the RBIs pretty much to get this thing started, and they kind of grind him away from there. Brash did pitch in this game, which I didn't expect for them to chase it at this point, but Brash did come in, and it was the first time he didn't look great. This was his 7th inning. We should check on this real quick because he might be a factor in the game as well tonight. Gets his first out here on a slider now. He's been like 85% slider, I feel like, in the postseason. So he's getting to the point where he's a little bit overexposed.
No, you got to make quality pitches in 3 different areas.
Hits Vlad right in the pad.
Not hitting him, but making him.
So he's out of there. Vlad looked a little annoyed, but I don't know. And then Kirky on a slider. Good job there. This was a slider that popped a little bit on the inside. That's what you're looking for if you're sitting on his slider. Great job by Kirk. Sees it pop in, all over it. Almost takes his head off. He does come back to get Varsho, probably on a back footer. Let's see it. Yep, nice pitch there. Then a Barger walk. I'm sitting on slider every single pitch. We had a Clement walk as well. Clement had a 4-pitch walk, Barger walk, and then Kiner Falefa ends up flying out, probably on a slider. Let's see if he's sitting on it. Yeah, definitely sitting on it. This one just got to a good location. If I'm facing him and he comes in tonight, I'm sitting on slider every single pitch. And if I'm a righty, I'm okay getting hit with the sinker in. That's another base runner. You know, I just think he's pitched a ton. He's a little bit overexposed. This is the guy who, luckily for them, Bizzardo only threw 15 innings in these 15 pitches in this 2-inning outing, but he's been elite in the postseason this year. This is the guy I would have been scared to overexpose in this game pitch-wise, because you might need him tonight. He's been freaking locked down. Here's a strikeout to Jimenez. Probably the front door. Yeah. I mean, his sinker's been on point. So that's kind of where we're at. Headed into Game 7. That's a little bit of a Game 6 rewind. Both teams were able to get out of there with 3 pitchers used and 4 pitchers used, respectively. So they'll have a lot of options today. But it's going to get interesting how quick the hooks are, how trustworthy the manager feels like some of the pitchers are, and really what they do with those and how quickly they hit the panic button. And then again, it's the tale of the 2 different offensive styles. You know, the Blue Jays, they don't strike out, they put the ball in play. Last night, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 punch outs. So they've been in the low single digits all series long. Some games it's worked, some games it's been quick outs. Whereas the Mariners have been sitting around waiting for home runs. They've scored almost 90% of their runs in this series and in the postseason on home runs. They do get 1 yesterday, but there's nobody on base. It was Naylor. Other than that, relatively quiet day. Cal Raleigh 0 for 4, 3 punch outs. Jorge Polanco 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Julio 0 for 3. Hard to do much when that's your top 3 production. And Crawford 0 for 2, 2 walks. And a bunch of like kind of not a whole lot going on otherwise in terms of damage. You had the 1 damage hit from Naylor. Other than that, they really didn't do much yesterday. They need these top 3 to click today big time against Bieber if they want anything. Julio, Cal Raleigh, Jorge Polanco. Those are all things to watch out for a little bit as we head into starting to look at tonight. Big props to Savage. He was fantastic. Let's look at the breakdowns real quick on some of these guys before we move on. He went 31 splits, 29 four-seamers, 27 sliders. So an even split on everything. The whiffs were pretty good. Almost all on the off-speed, though. Didn't get anything on the fastball. 33% whiff on the slider and 59% on the split. So it continues to be the same game for Savage. If we do see him in a World Series game, you know, the whole thing is, will you chase him? Will you not chase him? Is he throwing his off-speed pitches for strikes? So all that kind of played out. Let's look at Hoffman. This is one concern. He had all that rest, and yet the velocity was down. So I think he's on fumes, but he looked locked in mentally, and so I'd rather him be locked in mentally than worried about how he is physically. He did still average 95, but that's a far cry from the 96.4 he averaged during the year. So that's a little bit of a concern from Jeff moving on. But the slider was super, super elite last night. American Express is calling me.
I'll answer. Hello?
The slider was elite for whiffs. 7 swings, 5 whiffs on the slider last night. So that's a really good sign for Hoffman. So I would expect lots of heavy slider usage in swinging counts as we move forward if he pitches tonight. Varland, I think he's a little bit overexposed, but the velocity is still really, really good. He started to move on to some pitches he doesn't often feature as well. I mean, he threw a changeup in a big spot yesterday. So anyway, not a ton to learn from there. Let's see if Brash is still ripping sliders. 15 sliders last night and 21 total pitches. Even he's tried to move on a little bit. He threw 2 changeups last night, which is a little odd for him. Only 3 sinkers. So again, you go up there and you look for sliders. I think the Blue Jays are kind of onto that program right now. Matt Brash is going to have to flip the script. If I'm him, I'm thinking to go heavy fastball in my next outing, especially versus righties. Keep him honest with sinkers in. That's what I would be doing. And we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how this goes. Let's get into the notes today. We should have a really nice, clean research packet for us today to get into. We have a couple questions here in the chat, though, as we get started.
Did you make a Shopify charge?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was for the shipping labels.
Was it declined?
If a switch originally declined, but then I think it went through. The second time after I did the key or whatever.
Okay.
Like I just got a text.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. If a hitter struggles against a specific pitcher, a switch hitter, will they ever try batting to the other side? Yeah, this has happened many times. And I actually think one of the mistakes that Dan Wilson made a little bit in this game was not stacking his lineup more right-handed versus Yasavage. He just kills lefties. They hit like basically 100 off of him in the small sample so far. So I would have considered going more right-handers. I know that he got clipped by Naylor for the home run. But I think righties are ultimately probably a little better matchup versus a guy like Yasavage. But we've seen it in the past. There was righties that used to hit against Mariano Rivera rather than hit lefty, like switch hitters that would stay right-handed. So, yeah, you see it from time to time. But that's a pretty telltale sign that you're a nasty pitcher when they're doing something uncomfortable, against you to get an advantage. So I kind of love that dynamic. And I also think it's a little brave to try it. All right, let's get into the notes, and then we'll start answering some of this stuff. So on this date, couple quick on this dates. 88, Oral Hershiser pitches a 4-hitter and a 5-2 win over the A's to give the Dodgers their 5th World Series title since moving to L.A. Couple of Blue Jays on this day moments. 92, Jays take a 3-2 series lead in the World Series on Candy Maldonado's 9th inning bases loaded single. And in 93, the Jays and Phillies combined for 29 runs in a 9-inning game as Toronto puts up 6 runs in the 8th. Devon White's 2-run triple completes the comeback. So there's some Blue Jays moments. And on this date in 2004, the greatest comeback in the history of sports was made when the Red Sox came back against the Yankees, Game 7 of the ALCS after losing the first 3 games. Yeah, that was crazy. I was actually in Boston as a Yankee fan at the time, surrounded by Red Sox fans, and it just felt like the momentum was inevitable. Once they won those first 2, and then especially the Bloody Sock Game 3, they came back. Gyro, I don't have a prediction yet. I'm going to put this in the chat, though, really quick. I'm going to put a poll in the chat for Game 7 tonight. Game 7. Who you got? Jays, Mariners. Here we go. I'm sure it's going to be Jays in the chat because we got an awful lot of Blue Jay stuff. But, yeah. All right, here we go. There's also a couple happy birthdays. Juan Marichal is 88. Keith Hernandez is 72. Wow. And Mickey Mantle would have been 94. All right, stats to know. Blue Jays and Mariners have been tied at the end of just 7 innings through the first 6 games of the ALCS. So that's been interesting in this series. They really haven't been a ton of nail biters yet. Coming off of that Detroit Mariner 15-inning game that defined that ALDS, there really hasn't been any nail biters. I don't think that there's been too many saves in this series to be had. We haven't seen a lot of Munoz. They had to force Hoffman in there yesterday. So kind of a weird place to be considering we're tied 3-3, yet each of the games have kind of been lopsided somewhat one direction or the other. Double trouble. Seattle hit into an inning double play in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th inning on Sunday. They joined the 05 Padres, 95 Reds, and 73 Mets as the only team since 1940 to do so in 3 straight frames. So bad luck, good pitching, you decide, but that was crazy to see. 7th heaven, Toronto lost its only Game 7 in franchise history, falling to the Royals in the 85 ALCS. This will be Seattle's first ever Game 7. So this is quite literally the biggest game in the history of both of these franchises. I mean, maybe not for the Blue Jays because they have World Series titles, but definitely for the Mariners. And for this iteration of Blue Jay fandom, this is the biggest game in their history. At home, Game 7, wow. Don't call it a comeback. With another win, the Blue Jays would become just the 4th team to lose the first 2 games at home in a best of 7, and then win. Teams that advanced in just 3 of the prior 28 instances. Home sweet home. Home teams are 68 and 67 all-time in winner-take-all postseason games. That's not a huge disparity. Basically a 500 record, guys. That's crazy. That includes a 30 and 29 record in best of 7 series. The home team has lost Game 7 in 7 of the last 8. And the last home team to win a Game 7 was the 2017 Astros in the ALCS. That was versus the Yankees. That was the trash can year. Hurry up and wait. This is just the 5th time since the LCS expanded to a best of 7 format in 85. And we've had one LCS result in a sweep and the other goes 7 games. All right. So the Dodgers are waiting around for the winner of this game. In a way, this sort of benefits the teams that are playing. They'll be a little more fresh and ready, but also a little more used to playing. But the Dodgers will be super fresh with their absolute monster team, pitching staff waiting for them: Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Ohtani. So I'm going to be picking the Dodgers no matter what, more than likely in the World Series. But there is a little bit of a dynamic of whoever comes out of this game has been used to playing more recently when the World Series kicks off on Friday. All right, Seattle has scored first in 9 of its 11 postseason games. Blue Jays ALCS offensive splits. First is the starter. They're hitting .310 with 7 homers. And so they're killing the starters. The Blue Jays are actually killing the Seattle starters. They are 1-3 with a 7.338 ERA, and the Seattle relievers 2-0 3.64. So that's a big thing coming into here because Kirby's on the mound tonight. Kirby will have a super, super short leash today. Don't expect him to necessarily go deep unless he's rolling. And he did not look great. I thought his plan was a little suspect. A lot of sliders, a lot of sweep sinkers in that first outing. Let's see if he switches it up. Today, I'm sure we'll get into more of that as we go. They're also, the Mariners have also been way better with runners on. I wonder if that's a tipping thing or if that's just a poor execution at the poor time team. They're hitting .209 with 0-1 runner on, and they're hitting .313 with 2 or 3 runners on. So kind of a feast or famine situation. This is not always an advantage, but I will say baseball players don't like to have too many days off. So I give it a slight edge, but after Game 1, it's over because then everybody's used to playing again. But it could be an advantage in Game 1. The only issue is you're facing Blake Snell. So how much of an advantage, do you have when you're facing Blake Snell? So it's great. All right, we're not going to talk about the Dodgers yet. Mariners ALCS pitcher usage. Now this table's all over the place a little bit. But you can see some of these guys have pitched quite a bit. Bizzardo has pitched 3 different times. 30 pitches, 19 pitches, 15 pitches yesterday. That's a little bit of a question mark. Brash has pitched 4 times. 8 pitches, 10 pitches, 20 pitches, 21 pitches. Will he be available? The big one that you got to look at is Munoz. Munoz has a 0 ERA and 7.1 innings in the postseason this year. But 1 inning, 11 pitches in Game 5. And 1 inning, 8 pitches in Game 1. So I think you're going to see a ton of Munoz today, probably multiple inning. I'd be stunned if you don't see multiple inning of Munoz today. Kirby only pitched 74 innings in that 4 innings, so he's plenty fresh today, but it's about effectiveness at the front of the game. And then backing up Kirby, you probably have Miller slightly available. Castillo is probably available in a short stint, although he didn't pitch very well. Spire's back in the mix today. Only 9 pitches in Game 5, so he's had 2 days off leading into today. Bizzardo's the one that I'm surprised they let throw 2 innings, although they're lucky. He only threw 15 pitches in those 2 innings. That's a big deal. Ferguson available, but he's got a 16.88 ERA, so he's probably out of the trust tree. Luke Jackson, 2 innings total in this series, but he doesn't seem to be in the trust tree either, nor does Hancock or Vargas. Vargas does have good stuff though, but they're both kind of out of it, so I'm going to eliminate them. Woo's got 2 days off now off of 28 pitches. Depending on how he feels, I bet Woo's available. So you're looking at Woo, maybe a touch of Bizardo, definitely Munoz, maybe a touch of Brash and Spire, and then you have these two starters that could potentially be in the mix, Castillo and Miller. So they have plenty of options of how to piece it together, albeit not a ton of clean, easy options. I'd say Munoz is the cleanest one given his amount of rest. Munoz and Spire, but you got to pick the right matchups for those guys. That's kind of where we're at in this chance. Yeah, I talked about Woo a little bit, AD Gamer. I think we'll see him 28 pitches with 2 days rest, depending on how that chest is. I could see Woo featuring in big time in this game for Seattle. Yeah, and Munoz goes 2 tonight, guaranteed. I think that's locked down. I would not be surprised if he came in early, like Diaz did at the end. I think that's big. Also, you're not going to get a few days off because... yeah, they get a few days off, but you're not getting off for me. I'll still be doing streams if that's what you meant. I'm sorry, Lifted. I think I got a little confused. All right. Mariners started pitchers. We just went over that. The relievers have been more effective ultimately. So no way Dan Wilson has any type of long leash on George Kirby tonight. Extremely short. And, he might come out and be great. He's got it in him. He's one of the best pitchers in the world. But any sign of trouble, I think you'll see them go right to the pen, play a matchup. Then they'll probably go Munoz and they'll work backwards from their best pitchers. Whoever your best pitcher is, they're going to be in there, early as possible, and you're going to work kind of backwards in this game. Now, for the Jays, Gausman will be available off of 2 days rest. He did throw 91 pitches the other day. Savage is out. Bieber's starting. Scherzer probably available. Who knows what he can give, but I would say definitely available a little bit. Little should be fine, but given he has a 12 ERA in 3 games, I'd be stunned if he pitched. Varland has pitched in 5 of 6 games. 21 pitches, 16 pitches, 6 pitches, 27 pitches, 22 pitches. And he's been generally good, including yesterday. But I think they're maybe looking for a specific matchup with Varland. I do worry about overexposure a little bit with Lewis Varland heading into this game. I just know from experience, you don't want to be facing the same guys over and over and over again as a reliever in the same series. Eventually that tips. Dominguez has pitched in 3 games. He'll be fine. Fluharty is definitely fine, so they'll look for the right matchup if he goes in. Hoffman did throw 35 yesterday, but I would expect him to maybe be available for 1 inning. Fisher will be available, although he hasn't been as effective. No way Rodriguez touches the mound, and if they need length, Bassett and Lauer are options. Those guys are both fully available for innings. So, how do you manage this one? Well, you start off with Bieber, and you keep a really good eye on him. He's got it in him to be effective, but I would not wait around either with him. You have to totally treat every inning and every run like it's a 0-0 game in the 8th or the 9th at this point. So I would expect them to kind of figure out what matchups they like the most for each part of the order, and whenever Bieber falters, whoever that person is for that lane, they're immediately fired in the game, and then they'll just keep figuring it out as they go. But it's going to be interesting to watch how this one plays out. The Blue Jays have a ton of options today in their pen. I don't think it's that thin. I think Donnie thinks it's looking thin. I think they have more options than the Mariners personally in this game. Now, maybe not same level of quality, but they have, from my count, they have guys who could potentially pitch: Lauer, Bassett, Fisher, Hoffman, Fluharty, Dominguez, Varland, Scherzer, Bieber, Gausman. They have 10 guys that could potentially pitch. So who knows? But that's a lot of options. And I don't necessarily see Lauer going either, just because of the matchup situation. But he's a possibility, at least. He's a possibility. On the other side of things, the Blue Jays starting pitchers have been better in this series. 3.86, and the relievers 5.75 for what that's worth. So yeah, even though he has 10 people available, and a couple of them are starters, man, the beginning of this game is the hardest part to manage. I always think about how I would handle it in a situation like this. It's all about getting an early, initial good read on your starter and trusting that feeling, and then understanding what's coming behind it, and just not being afraid to be convicted in an early move if you have to make it. All right, we don't need to look at the Dodgers yet. We'll get to that. And here we go. Here are the notes for this game. Mariners are one of only 5 teams that have never won a World Series. We talked about that. That's why this is literally their most important game in their team's history, which is great. Blue Jays are 1 win away from getting their first pennant since '93, so it's been a long drought for them as well. So either way, one team is going to end in euphoria today, headed to the World Series to play the Dodgers, and the other team is going to end in misery and disappointment big time. You make it all the way this far to a Game 7. I have to say, I've been in locker rooms that have lost Game 6s in the CS 3 times, and that was horrible. I can't imagine the pain of a Game 7, feeling one measly win away from the World Series, something you dream about your whole life. And really, from the moment that you start spring training every year, this is the year we're going to the World Series, to lose it 1 game away is especially cruel and especially painful. But we'll see. 20 of the 26 players on Toronto's ALCS roster weren't born yet when Toronto won its pennant in '93. The only ones who are alive are Bassett, Gausman, Hoffman, Scherzer, Heineman, and Springer. Toronto has won 5 of its last 6 potential postseason series clinchers, dating back to Joe Carter's Game 6. So they have that going for them, but that means nothing. This is a pitching rematch of the 13-4 Jays victory in Game 3. This is when I thought it was a tough matchup for the Jays headed into this Game 3. Kirby was, loaded up, ready to rock. On the Mariners side, Bieber had faltered a little bit in that Game 3 start versus the Yankees he had in the DS. They were in Seattle. He gave up 2 runs early in this game, and yet he ended up going 6 innings, 2 runs, and posted an outstanding start, which is just what they needed to get back into it. We can go back and look at a little bit of how he went about it in a minute. George Kirby matched a career high with 8 earnings, allowed runs in just 4 innings. He gave up home runs to Jimenez, Springer, and Vlad. We'll watch all that. Bieber gave up a 2 home run to Julio, but then settled down. That was a fastball that kind of drifted down in, so not great. I know he still doesn't think he made a mistake putting Little in, but I don't think he'll do it again. That's telling. He hasn't put him in again, and I don't think he'll put him in again. All right. Bieber's only other start with a chance to clinch a postseason series came in Game 3 of this year's DS, and he did not pitch as well. Take it with a grain of salt. Means nothing. Seattle has won both of their potential postseason clearing games that Kirby has pitched in. He eliminated the Jays in 0-2 by closing out Game 2 of the wildcard series, and he started Game 5 of this year, ended up going to that 15-inning game. In these elimination starts, Kirby's actually looked quite good, only allowing 1 run in 12 innings with 11 Ks and no walks. This is his first road start in exactly a month. He did not fare as well on the road. So the truth is, we can talk about all the different tiny little nuance, but we have no freaking idea how these guys are going to come out. We know that the Blue Jays are going to continue to be aggressive versus Kirby. He's going to have to probably just look to be less predictable. Of course, you got to be in the strike zone, but maybe be a little less predictable. I'd like to see more knuckle curves out of him. I'd like to see him pitching inside a little more to righties. I'd like to see him throw more 4-seamers than sinkers at times to lefties, so we'll see. Toronto has all of Seattle pitchers except Logan Gilbert are available. Look for Bryce Miller and or Brian Wu to pitch in relief. So that's what I was saying. Those guys are a must, potentially, in this game to be available. Toronto has everybody except for Trey Savage, Scherzer, Gausman, Hoffman through 35 pitches, but I expect him to be available. This is an all hands on deck. Everybody wants to pitch in this game. You wake up today, doesn't matter how you feel. Take whatever you got to take. Rest how much you got to rest. Put all of the hot stuff you can on that arm. Make sure you don't feel anything and go out there and get the job done. Seattle has scored 21 of its 27 runs in the series via the home run. So again, they've been waiting around for homers. I think if I'm, I think I have to be aware of that if I'm Toronto's pitching style. It's like you want to get ahead, and if you're in a non-advantage count, be a little careful. Watch out for ambushes. That's how Seattle gets it done. It's ambushes and it's mistakes when they are ahead in the count, and it's also the really brutal pitch choices and mistakes when it's 2 strikes, because it's just home runs. Just home runs. Stay away from home runs. Stay away from the power damage, and they're probably not going to string it together on you. They haven't to this point. Cal Raleigh's up to 64 home runs in this year. He did go 0 for yesterday, though, with 3 punchies. A total surpassed by only Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa. His 4 home runs this postseason trail only Ken Griffey Jr. for the most in a Mariners postseason. Vlad is now slashing .462, .532, 1,000 with 6 home runs and 12 RBIs in 10 games. So that's a 1532 OPS. Is that good? I think that's pretty good. He's definitely on track to win MVP of this series if the Jays win it. And if he does, there'll be another video made of all the pitches that he sees. That'll be really fun. Vlad Jr.'s 6 career postseason home runs are tied for most in team history with Joey Carter and Joey Bats. So Joe Carter and Jose Bautista, those are the 2 guys. Joe Carter, big shout out to him, the uncle of my friend growing up, Yusuf Carter, who was a pretty good baseball player as well, drafted and all that. This is some World Series talk. So, okay, so there's not a whole bunch of notes to go through. We've watched these teams play quite a bit. What I want to do is I want to go back and review a little bit of the start that happened just a few days ago between these 2 teams. It was game 3, so what day would that have been? Let's just try to figure that out. This is game 4, so that makes it game 3 right here, because this is the rematch. Kirby, 4 innings, 8 earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 3 homers. Bieber, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikes. So I'm going to start with Kirby. If we go to the player breakdown on Kirby, because, again, like, they need to get out of the gate well in this game. If you're George Kirby, you need to get out of the gate well or you're going to be out of the game. And it comes down to me to a couple factors. Number one, he's going to throw a lot of strikes. We know that, so the Blue Jays are going to be aggressive. So their identity of being aggressive matches up with his identity of throwing strikes. So in a way, that's immediate advantage Blue Jays. Now, the way that he can flip that into his advantage is by doing it with unexpected pitches and get some pop-ups and some ground outs and some things like that. So, you know, try to anticipate their anticipation and then flip the script on them. Last game, though, he got into a little bit of a pattern problem, right? 29 sinkers, 28 sliders, and the next most used pitch was the fastball. He very rarely used the knuckle curve. I'd like to see some more knuckle curves. It's one of his best pitches by Stuff Plus. It's his 2-speed down pitch. I think when they sit on the fastball, they can still hit a mistake slider that he throws. We saw Vlad all over that. I think he just has to get away a little bit from doing the same old thing. I'd like to see more 4-seamers. I'd like to see more first pitch off speed thrown borderline, not necessarily being committed to throwing the ball right down the middle, a lot versus these guys. I'd like to see like just a little bit more pitching and playing it smart. Obviously, you don't want to walk guys, but I think play it smart with your pitch choices and don't get ambushed. Don't be predictable. He only had 9 whiffs on 34 swings last time. So let's go watch the videos and we'll take a peek at what we saw from Kirby in that game. So the first inning went okay, but again, all sinkers and sliders. Got George to roll over a slider there, down. This is a beautiful spot for an aggressive hitting team. You want to live at that bottom of the zone and get that slider down and away. So those righties. Then he struck out Lucas on a 4-seam, and he kind of went away from the 4-seam as the game went on. I love his 4-seam up. I like when he starts sinker and then goes 4-seam up later, because then the 4-seam tends to get over the barrel like it does here to Lucas. So let's see if he abandons the 4-seam this next time or if he stays committed to it. Vlad got an infield hit, I believe, right? But if we remember, what he did to Vlad last time was only sinker in, slider. Sinkers in and then sliders off of that. I'd like to see him switch it up. Maybe a first pitch knuckle curve, something he can't get ambushed on. When he goes in, I'd like to see him go way in, and who cares if you hit him, but go way in. Don't make any mistakes to Vlad. Don't give him anything that he can swing big on. When you get the slider going, you got to get it away. You don't have to strike it. I would be super careful with Vlad if I was Kirby. Here's the strikeout to Santander. He's not even in the series anymore. And I had mentioned this was a pretty bad pitch that he got away with, but I think that's more of a function of Santander's back is not good right now. That's why he's not in there anymore. Loperfido has now replaced him. Even in the second inning, there's some pretty hard hit balls, I believe. Let's see here. He gets Kirk out with a sinker here. That's a good approach, though, staying through it. And then we got a pop-up. See, I'd like to see him use more of these 4s for sure. The 4 was getting above the barrel. Let's see if Kirby switches to a higher percentage of 4-seams versus sinkers. That would be a good adjustment, in my opinion. Here's another out. So he gets 3 of his first 6 out with 4-seamers, and then I feel like he kind of abandoned it a little bit. I know that he's probably going off the scouting report of the Blue Jays being one of the best teams at hitting velocity up in the zone, but I just feel like if he at least 50-50s the sinker and the 4-seam, they might not be very accurate with their barrel placement at least. That would be the gambit that I would be trying to play. And here comes the rally. So again, it's a very aggressive approach by the Blue Jays. Let's see how it plays out in this inning. It's a first pitch sinker to Clement. He's all over it for a double. Honestly, it's a pretty good location, but with Clement at this point, you have to expect a swing every time. If Ernie Clement is leading off the inning against me, or really whatever, if I'm facing Ernie Clement, I'm throwing a chase pitch right now, first pitch. He is swinging. He is swinging. So let's let him use that. We'll use that against him a little bit. And then I hated this too. Sinker, middle down. He's actually on top of it, telling me he's more on plane for a four-seam, but they didn't read this at all, because this is the time where you say, oh, he's not on that sinker. I think knuckle curve would have been the good pitch after this. If you have a guy that's over your sinker, his bat still path is a little better for four-seam contact, so why go to another fastball there? Go to something 2 speeds down and get him to either miss it or chop it in the ground. Instead, they go four-seam, and then the real cardinal sin of this is they don't get the four-seam up in the zone. They throw it pretty much in the same location as that sinker, and that was the mistake. So I like toggling fastball shapes, but you have to read it. He was on top of that sinker. Given that he's on top of the sinker, he's more likely to be even with the four-seam, which is exactly what he is. But also, you got to locate it better. You have an 0-1 count here. This is count leverage. You don't have to throw a strike. Get this ball up and in, make them swing at a bad pitch. Instead, he pulls it down. So we got to keep an eye on fastball command, and then how often he's going to one shape or another. I'd like to see more of a 50-50 split for George. That will keep him out of the danger zone. Because, let's be honest, the Blue Jays have some good hitters even at the bottom of this order that are pretty hot right now. Clement, Jimenez, as well as, who else? Kiner Falefa's got some hits. Barger, if he's down there at the bottom this time, he's been really, really effective. So anyway, can't worry too much, but you gotta switch it up. Predictability is your enemy, and then furthermore in this inning, Lucas is going to get him on a sinker. Struck him out with a fastball that first at bat. So I'm a little bit confused at why he goes sinker in this spot. I think if he faces Lucas again, he's going to pepper him with more four seams at the top. But in order to have the four seam play even better, I'd like to see more knuckle curve usage out of Kirby. The sinker comes kind of right into his bat path. And then here's Vlad. And again, Vlad's been pitched the same way over and over and over again in the series. Sliders and sinkers. Sliders and sinkers. So I feel like, especially because he gets him to take this slider, that would have told me that initially he was looking for a sinker, but then after he sees that pitch so juicy, Vlad's like, man, I want that pitch again. And George gives it to him again. So I'd like to see some four-seam usage to Vlad as well when you're going in, not just sinkers. I also like to see a 2-speed down knuckle curve. Because I mentioned, if you're looking for a fastball, you can still be on time for this slider. It's still 87, so even if you're a little bit out front, you can still cover it as long as it's not dotted away. And that's what happens here. I think Vlad's on time for a fastball, but he gets a juicy pitch and he hammers it. But if it's knuckle curve, he's going to be 2 speeds down, and he's going to pull that ball foul, or he's going to drift it to third or something. He's not going to be directly on time. So I'd like to see that play out a little better. Here's a hit to Varsho. This is a four-seam up that Varsho's all over. We mentioned the Jays are good at hitting fastballs at the top of the zone, and I know I've been advocating for more four-seamers, and this one gets hammered, but let's see how he gets there. Because this kind of put the game out of reach. Slider. Non-competitive in the dirt. Slider. Gets him to swing at it below the zone. Even though this is a wild pitch. I don't understand the fastball up here. You just got a guy to swing at a pitch below the zone in the dirt, and then you decide to go fastball up from a guy who's definitely geared on fastball. The fact that he swung this early. I just think they've had a hard time reading the game a little bit with some of these Jays hitters. I think this was the wrong moment for the fastball up. He hadn't shown you he was going to cover slider down. So I'd like to see them do a better job paying attention to the moment and making pitch calls based off of feel and by hitter reaction, more so than just being committed to, oh, we have a sinker slider plan. So I think they need to do a better job of just paying attention. That was a big hit by Varsho. There's some more stuff here. Springer gets him on a first pitch sinker. Again, they're ready to hit first pitch every time. They know George throws a lot of strikes, so they're basically picking out a sinker or a slider in this game, especially if you're a righty. You saw Clement pick out a sinker and get a first pitch hit. You see Springer pick out a sinker and go bridge right here. And then you see Vlad pick out a slider and take him deep in the next at-bat. Right here. Vlad says, I'm picking out a slider and I'm going to ambush. So George has just got to be smarter on first pitches. I know he wants to get ahead in the count. Everybody has to get ahead in the count. You have to. But this is three batters that I've already counted, if not 4 in this game, that crushed the first pitch ambushing, mostly because it's only the same pitches he's been going with. Sinker, slider, sinker, slider. I'd like to see more knuckle curve out of George. I'd like to see, an even split of 4-seamers and sinkers, so it's not so predictable. But I'm a little confused why he went away so hard from the curveball. On the year, it's not that bad of a pitch. -1 run value is fine. Nothing bad there. The sinker's been getting hammered. 309 batting average, yet that's his primary pitch. That's not making a whole lot of sense. He's completely abandoned the split. This might be a nice time to pull it back out. Something unexpected. Probably won't, but no splits or changeups in his game. So again, because he has nothing to slow you down, everything's kind of hard. That's why I need to see more curveballs. Curveball for him, it comes in at... What speed does his curveball generally come in at? 84. So that's a big difference off 96. That is his one chance to slow you down a little bit and not allow them to sit in that speed band. I am curious about stuff grades, because I think his curveball grades pretty well, to be honest with you. I'd like to see more of these just to play off his fastball. Yeah, it has his curve as his best pitch. 118 stuff plus on the knuckle curve. So we need to see more of those. Stuff plus is saying that all his pitches are below average except for his sinker and his knuckle curve and his splitter, which he doesn't even throw anymore. So I'd just like to see more curves. Let's see more curveballs. That's my number one request from George Kirby tonight. Pair a 4-seam and a curveball tunnel, as well as a sinker slider tunnel, and work more north-south as well as east-west. Give them 2 different planes they have to worry about. That's what I'd be thinking about if I was George Kirby coming into this game, personally. That would be my thought process, and we'll see if that plays out. Let's get in the chat for a second before I go look at Bieber. When did this happen? Cal's going to play every minute of every game. Did Garver catch? Did I miss this? You got to keep Cal back there. He's been the guy all year, but I think if I'm them, I'm definitely thinking about, in my meeting today, saying, be aware of what's happening here. Like, don't call the game based on a pre-existing game plan. Like, let's know what we want to start these guys with to get ahead of them. And then let's play it, but let's use our full arsenal. We cannot beat these guys with 2 pitches. Not when they've seen them a ton, not when this is the way we've been pitching them all series. So definitely think about looking for opportunities to shoot for freezes, look for 4-seam opportunities, look for knuckle curve opportunities. But Cal's been back there, so you would think he would have a better, feel for it. But I don't know. Is Garver known to be an incredible pitch caller? It's a good question. All right, what else we got? If you're the Mariners, are you employing an anybody but Vlad approach to the Jays hitters? I can see him getting walked 2 times tonight. Yeah, for the most part, I would say that's fair. Let's go back to yesterday's box score just to see, because there's no Santander. So you're looking at the Jays lineup. Springer's clearly hurt. Oh, hold on, I have to main screen. Springer's clearly hurt, but still laying in the weeds. Who's hitting behind Guerrero these days? Kirk, Varsho, Clement. I think nobody on. You pitch to Vlad. You be aggressive to Vlad, maybe with different pitch types than he's been seeing, but you're still aggressive to him. Try to get him out. Guys on base, he's a no-fly zone right now. For me, you cannot get beat by Vlad Jr. in this game in a big spot. You just can't. You push it on to Kirk. Make Kirk beat you. That would be my advice. How would you attack a batter with a bum knee? I don't know. It just looks like sinkers in on George are a good pitch right now. Seems to be maybe worried about hitting a ball off his own leg or anything coming in towards that knee. I noted that he had a little bit of a weird take before getting hit in the kneecap, right? Let's watch George's at-bats real quick from last night. I'm curious. Seattle and Toronto. So Springer goes 9 pitch at-bat to start the game. I just want to get a look at how Springer's looking. Fastball up in.
Swing, jog. 97-mile-per-hour fastball off the knee. Swings and misses and goes
Damn,
down.
huge swing on that slider.
77th postseason game.
His swing looks fine. But I think George has done a really good job of staying right center with his approach on his fastball. Oh, he didn't look great on that. Got a wince right there, right? He's okay. So if I'm them, I'm actually looking to pitch George up and in quite a bit. Stuff breaking into him, sinkers into him. Because right now it does seem like he's geared a little bit away.
Another 1-2.
Oof, unbelievable take.
On 2-2, Springer watches it back. One that he likes. Here's his 8th pitch to Springer.
More like George Swinger, am I right? I mean, he does like to swing. Look at the drop to the one knee here. And then ends up getting him with a slider.
Another payoff from Gilbert. A broken back flare, third base. Suarez
Damn, gets jammed on a slider in. So if you're getting jammed with slider in, you're probably going to get jammed with fastballs in. Then it's a 4-pitch walk here. There was 2 guys on, so they didn't want to give in here, I guess. And then we talked about this 1 pitch out, I believe. Yeah, I love the fastball in the George here. Ooh, doesn't get it in, so that was a good pitch to hit. You see the target versus where they wanted it, right? Target's in off the plate. This pitch ends up very hittable down here, right? Oof, that was even more down the middle than I thought. Got to get it in if you're going to him. Bizzardo got him out on 2 pitches. Let's see if it's the sinker in approach that I've been asking for. Yeah, the knee's still bugging him. He likes to get on that backside and launch off the backside, which he's having a hard time doing, you can see. Definitely can't run very good. Definitely limping a lot. But yeah, I love the sinker in approach to George here. That's what I would do a lot of. Kind of the way that they've been trying to pitch Vlad, I would do to George here. And also, I don't think maybe you have to worry about him stealing either. I mean, he can't move, right? So, in a big spot, don't give in. And then Vargas punches him out. Let's watch this whole at-bat. Little fear of death right there. Sinker in. He looks very uncomfortable on sinker in, wouldn't you guys say? Oh, that time he bailed. Watch George's body. Look at that bail early. Looking for something in. So he'll definitely hunt it after a while. That's also the 4th time he's dropped to the knee. He can't put any weight on it. Sinker in again, and he's gone. So yeah, I expect this to be the approach. Granted, this is filthy from a guy who's not even in their trust tree, but 100-mile-an-hour sinker down is gross. All right, so that was a good question on Springer. Guess we'll keep looking. We'll keep checking in on that. All right, time to check in on Bieber from the other night. Bieber went, what did we say it was? Like the 14th? 15th? Bieber in that game, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. They were all at the beginning of the game. Player breakdowns on Shane. 26 sliders, 20 fastballs, 14 changeups, which ended up being an important pitch for him. 14 knuckle curves, 14 cutters. Changeup had been a struggle for him, but he brought it back big time the other day. Let's go to that game again. First inning, he got himself in trouble right away with his fastball command. Walk to Randy. Then Cal Raleigh fly out. Oh yeah, he tried to go backdoor cutter. Does go backdoor cutter. Actually, really good job. Really good pitch. Pops up Cal there. And then here's the home run to Julio. I mentioned there was a mistake fastball here. So slider, middle, fastball, try to go in, pulls it up and in. And then this one they try to go away because his attention's in, but they throw it right in the juicy spot. Supposed to go away, pulls it down, middle in. So that was one mistake. He didn't make another mistake like that the rest of the game. I don't think you'll see a ton of fastball challenge fastballs in this game out of Bieber. I think in this spot, if he does it again, you'll see a different type of pitch. But that was it. That's the only 2 runs they got off him. After that, he was pretty damn good. Pretty damn efficient. Ended up featuring a really good kick changeup at times in this game, which made a big difference. There's a fastball up for a strikeout. And he gets 3 strikeouts in the next inning. Let's see. Knuckle curve. Down below. What you looking for? What?
Almost out of shots.
And, well, the shirts are over there.
Yeah, you're like down to nothing.
I know. We are. We're very low. That's good, though.
Much better break on that slider.
We'll figure something else out. Slider away off that. Really nice pitch there. So his command, once his command cleaned up, it was game over. It was usual Shane Bieber. Started getting him to swing at bad pitches. That's kind of the name of the game. With this team, they want to take huge swings, huge hacks. They're licking their chops when they see Bieber because his velocity is not, fast relative to what they've been seeing. But he's got enough pitches to keep you off balance. And if he's commanding, those big swings are not really useful because you're going to be swinging at a lot of pitches that are just off the corner, just below the zone, just at the top. You're not really getting the pitches you want to hack at. Kind of a top of the zone slider here, popped out. Nailer. We'll also see if he relies on the cutter as much as he did last game. I think it's all about location with this pitch, and he was able to do it. But this is a little bit risky to me as well. Here's a Suarez ground out on a slider. That's a risky pitch down the middle. Kind of got lucky there, but makes his mistake with 2 strikes rather than when he's getting his A swing off. Here's a strikeout of Canzone. This was the first really good changeup of the game. And then the changeup became a bigger part of it later. Look at that. Negative 3.1 on that break. This ball has heavy drop. Very late, too. So look for that to be a big pitch for Bieber today as well. Changeups. He has to control the count. He has to do a lot of what he did from innings 2 on the other day, which is get ahead in abnormal ways and make them chase. This was a big out. Gets Randy to chop the cutter for a big force out there, and then strikes out Cal. Let's watch this whole at bat. So obviously Raleigh's going to come up with some big spots tonight. He had a tough game yesterday. He's had some good games in the series. He's hit some homers, but they've pitched him tough. Pretty good pitch to hit there, but he's way under it for a foul ball. Change up off that. Good pitch.
Trying to take a chunk out of this deficit. 2-1 pitch. Chopper.
Change up nasty.
If only. 2-2 on Cal Raleigh.
And then Doors up top. They read Cal really well this whole series, honestly. I know he clipped a few guys, but this is a really good time to elevate. Bieber set him up perfect for it and locates it perfectly. So with him, he's such a command pitcher. You're watching his command. I think at the end of the day, those are the early things we're watching for with Bieber. Is he going to come out? Is he getting ahead of the strikes? I mean, ahead of the count, ahead of the hitters? Is he dotting on the corner? Is he missing down the middle? That's the stuff I'd be paying attention to right away. Because once he gets rolling, command-wise, he's really tough to deal with. Here's the changeup out. This is how he finished out his outing. Polanco, a little defensive swing there. Jimenez has been huge at short too, huh? I don't think Bo's making this play. Nice play. And then his last out was also Jimenez. Was Naylor on a changeup as well. So, changeup became a big pitch as it went. Let's see if he goes to that early. That'll be interesting to see. They'd love to get 6 innings. I'd be surprised because there'll still be a quick hook here with a lot of pitchers available. But that's a little bit of what it looked like for Bieber the last time that he went against these guys. He faced an even split of righties and lefties. I think that'll be about the same today. His whiff pitch was his slider. So he's looking to get to 2 strikes and have them expand with the slider. He's also looking to pitch behind quite a bit and elevate the fastball with 2 strikes. That's the other way he's getting strikeouts. I think changeup is more of a contact pitch for him. If he sets it up right, he might get whiff. But I think you'll see a lot of neutral count changeups. 1-1 changeups, 2-1 changeups, 1-0 changeups, 0-1 changeups, stuff like that in the mid count. I think you'll see a lot of those for contact outs. Knuckle curves. Didn't fool anybody. 100% zone swing. So in a way, watch out a little bit, but I still like it for its differential capabilities, and I'd be careful with the cutter. If he gets too cutter happy, that's where I see some damage happening, potentially. Other than that, some more guys that you might see appear, but not a whole lot. And yeah, it's an all hands on deck sitch for tonight's game. You're mad at Canada? What Canada do? They're loving their team, that's all. I'll tell you that. All right. I do think this is... who do you think MLB is rooting for? Probably Toronto, right? That's a huge market. All of Canada versus the Dodgers. Plus you have like the whole Ohtani fake private jet thing to Toronto. Whether he was going to sign with the Jays or sign with the Dodgers. So I think that's maybe what MLB would like. But if it is Seattle, it's all in one time zone at least. And I think you'll get really good starting pitching matchups. Maybe the Mariners pitching will be a little more effective in the starting way versus the Dodgers. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But we will see. I would agree with George. It looks like he wants to generate power off the back leg and just can't right now. Can't put any pressure on it. We saw him go down to the knee once or twice. Every one more day is going to help. They'll pump more drugs into him. You know, they'll heat up that knee. They'll put a pad on it. They'll do everything you can to make it better. But, you know, bones can be tricky. You get a bone bruise. It just hurts for a while, flat out. Not a whole lot you can do about it. You just kind of have to deal with it a little bit. See where we're at in that poll. 74% Blue Jays and 112 votes. So we'll go ahead and end the poll. Blue Jays absolutely crushing in the poll. But we have a lot of Jays fans. So it'll be interesting to see. Oh, wow. I didn't think about this, but if we do get LA versus Toronto, just kick back up the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. LA versus Toronto. That would be interesting to see if anything happens there. Hey, Jane bought something.
Aw,
A blue hat. So we'll have to take care of Jay. We're working on a couple things right now and not taping too loud. Yeah, they showed him getting a knee brace on between innings. Interesting, Clutch more about Springer, because you could see it's pain, and I actually think maybe whatever they gave him, the Toradol or whatever they gave him, it looked like it wore off as the game went on. Plus, he's running out there around there on turf. If he's out there playing defense, it's not the best feeling in the world. Plus, he's not the youngest, so his aging is going to be a little slower than if he was a 22-year-old George Springer. He's probably, what, like 34, 35 now? Crazy. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up for today. This was a good preview episode. We got to check in some things. Get ready for this Game 7. We will go over everything that happened in Game 7 tomorrow, and then we'll shift our attention to the World Series, which should be exciting. Full attention on one series only. Hopefully that one goes long, but this one's been great. No matter what the outcome, this has been a great ALCS. We got a beautiful Game 7. I'll be on a plane to Denver tonight. Got some important stuff to take care of potentially over there. So I will be watching this game mostly on the plane, and then tomorrow I'll live stream from my hotel room in Denver tomorrow morning. The results of this, so we'll see how that goes. All right. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Huge turnout today. Really appreciative of that. Thanks for everybody that watched all of my videos and stuff like that. So really, really excited to see how this one goes, and then we'll talk about it. We'll break it all down, and we'll get ready for the World Series. So thanks for hanging with me today. You guys are the best, and have a good one. Yeah, no Miles tomorrow. You have to deal with some random background, but that's okay. Anyway, you guys are great. Peace out. We're working on getting these last orders out today, and then there'll be no more orders sent back out until probably Wednesday. But you guys are the best. All right. Have a good one. Adios. Bye.